Yeah, he's got health issues.
Hey everybody, it is Mike with Riding in the Ozarks, and we have my good friend Bagger Bader here with us and the beautiful Firecracker, who is feeling a little bit under the weather. So if she seems out of sorts, she came home early today and took a nap and stuff and has not felt good. She started feeling sick the day we left Sturgis. So she actually did her famous 1K in a day while she was ill. She actually felt like she had a fever and stuff.
Wow, that even more impressive. How was it, April? How was that iron butt?
Good. I got a little cranky at a point, but I got me a Mountain Dew since I knew I couldn't drink a whole energy drink because we're stopping quick and moving on. So got me a Mountain Dew and it gave me a little energy. I did alternate my wild ass seat cushion. I started off without it, and then our first stop I put it on, and then I'd take it on and off, and that seemed to help my tailbone some. Not that I still don't want a new seat, but this time my wrist is the thing that started bothering me most. But that's from my previous motorcycle accident. When I ride a lot, it starts to bother me. So, but
yeah.
So
we did it.
Yeah, XAN's in the house and said good evening. Jeff from Milwaukee, William Holly. So Will said hi. The Wagonator said good job, Firecracker, and to hey everyone. So thank you guys for joining us. Anybody else out there in the chat, shoot us a message. Let us know where you're from. We'll throw it up on the screen. But yeah, she did it, and she actually, I mean, she kind of, when she was talking about, wasn't sure that she was going to try and ride the whole 1,000 because it was 950 to the house. We actually ended up the route we went. We were at 960. We'd have been home at 963 or something like that. But she decided, a couple of hours before we got home that, she was going to go ahead and ride the whole 1,000. Once the sun went down and it's cooled off a little bit, she felt a little better also. And she was like, nope, I'm going to do it.
I personally felt like when I got to about 750 miles, mentally I was like, okay, I got it.
Yeah, I think the 700 is kind of like you either give up there or you're like, okay, I'm going on. I can do this. 700 is where she was starting to get cranky. It was 91 degrees out. Sun was out. She was like, whose idea was this? I'm like, yours. This was all your idea. New York Harley Rider said hello from Buffalo. Ryan Skid says hello. He's from Dallas Fort Worth area, originally from Springfield. So yeah, it was funny. There's a comment in all the stuff today, but we were riding back from Sturgis, and this was on the way to Sioux Falls. So the straight stretch right across I-90 there, and we had a couple of bikes pass us that I recognized. I don't know if they recognized me, but I recognized them from speed dealers, and they were wearing their speed dealer shirts. And it was Megan and the other gentleman that was at the booth the other day, and so they passed us, and then there was a car in front of them that wouldn't get out of the left lane, and they finally went around them on the right, and they were giving them the "Hey, I love the way you drive" sign kind of thing, so we saw them, probably 60 miles from Sioux Falls. And then about 30 miles from Sioux Falls, this Pan America rolls up on me in the left lane and then sets pace with me and looks over and waves and realizes I have no idea who it is. So then they take their visor up on their helmet so I could see them and wave again, and it was PJ from Harley-Davidson. And so he was riding back toward Milwaukee with another buddy and stuff, and they'd rolled up us, and he messaged me today for my birthday and stuff. But he was like, it's so cool to kind of run into you. What are the odds with all of the variables on a long trip over a week. I didn't see him all week until the ride home. You know, it happened to catch him 30 miles outside of Sioux Falls kind of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, we took 29 south until we got to St. Joe. Will's asking about our route. Mikey from KC, congrats, Firecracker. See? And yeah, we took 29 down to St. Joe, and then we cut, I think, is it 36 across to Macon?
I have no idea. I was just following you.
Yeah, I think it's 36.
Yeah, 36. We took that across to Macon and then cut south again. And the cut across 36 wasn't bad because it had rained. So right after we made it on the turn on the 36, I guess we were behind it, and the temperature dropped to like from 91 to 83.
After I'd finally taken all of my jackets off and was in a t-shirt, it gets cool. And then, I originally took off my hoodie and wore my mesh jacket after we got going for a while because it started getting hot. And then I decided it's still too hot, so I took off my mesh jacket, and then we right into the cold, and I'm like, God dang it. So at Macon, I ended up putting my mesh jacket back on, and then it got hot again.
Yeah, as soon as we turned south, we were no longer under whatever little front it was, and it turned back to 91 degrees. So Will said he's seen it somewhere on 29. I'm guessing, since he asked if we took 29, I'm guessing that's where he saw us at. And yes, Road Reality, today is my birthday. 29 again.
Yeah.
And I am having a birthday beverage, my first
There
one
you
today.
go.
We're not doing shots and getting crazy tonight. I got to work, and I've been gone for a week and a half, so I got a lot to catch up on. But we'll have a drink.
I'm having my soda from McDonald's.
So Steve, you want to go ahead and talk about what we were talking about? He said, I was on my way to Shelby, Iowa. Happy birthday, by the way. Thank you, sir. You want to talk about the Sturgis stuff a little bit that we were talking about before the show started?
Sure.
See, Wagonators were there. They could have some perspective.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else in the chat was in Sturgis, but Steve had a little different perspective than me. Not that one's right or wrong. I think a lot of it has to do with what you're doing, when you're doing it, where you are. But tell them about it, Steve.
Yeah. So this year I, kind of made a point of interest to not speed, make sure I'm trying to obey the speed limits. I know that, this was my 7th time to go to Sturgis, and I know that law enforcement up there, they bring law enforcement in from all over the place, predominantly the 3 or 4 states around the South Dakota area, but they bring law enforcement in from all over. And so it's obviously a revenue producer, right? And so this year, kind of keep an eye on things. I just felt like there seemed to be a little bit more of an emphasis on speed traps. I don't know, I just seemed like I noticed more than maybe a little bit more than normal. Point being is the day before I was coming home on a Monday, which was a day where I just rode by myself, which I love having one day just to ride. I was coming back from the Full Throttle Saloon, and when I leave there, I always look at the 65 mile an hour speed limit sign. So I'm riding Gigi, which is not it's not a fast bike. It's more of a cruiser. So I'm just zipping along, and I'm doing like 60 miles an hour, and 2 troopers pass me, and I wave at them like I usually like to wave. And so then I get down kind of close to the stop sign by the Buffalo Chip, and all of a sudden I look in my rearview mirror, and one of them had turned back and flipped his cherries on. Honest, really didn't have any clue as to why he was pulling me over. I know that my turn signals and stuff they're really tiny. They're little LED lights. And I thought, well, maybe something, I had no clue. Anyway, asked me why I was speeding, and I said I didn't know I was, 65 miles an hour. And he goes, no, it's 45. So my question to anyone out there listening is, do you remember ever seeing the 45 mile an hour speed zone sign on your way back into town from the throttle? I know everybody slows down up there, and I did too. By the time he pulled me over, I was probably going 30. But I don't recall seeing, and I was trying to keep a close eye every day I rode. I was trying to keep an eye on the speed limit. I just never saw that sign, and I kind of questioned whether he was right or wrong. He did admit that he's from the eastern part of the state, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe he just assumed, didn't know, that's not his area that he's normally traveling in. But he did reduce it to like a 7 to 10 mile an hour ticket because, I think I made a pretty good case with him. And so I did get, won't affect my insurance. But anyway, that'd be the first part of what I would talk about. And then the second part would be that once he pulled me over, he's like, hey, you want to get in my squad car? And I sell insurance. So I'm dealing with people all the time with tickets, DUIs, blah, 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 blah. That's a pretty good indicator that if he wants you to go sit in his car, he's putting you back there to see if he can smell alcohol on you in a confined area. And I just kind of giggled because, again, I've been sober for over 4 years. So I welcomed that deal. But I don't know. And then, so I just felt like there was a little bit more of an emphasis on law enforcement to try to find tickets this year. Now, Mike, I don't think you really saw much of a difference.
Well, so we stayed somewhere different this year. We've always stayed in Deadwood the last couple of years that we've gone, and the cops are always heavy between Deadwood and Sturgis. That, we never speed. They're always thick there. That was the norm. So I'm used to that. We only rode that stretch of road once this year because we stayed at kickstands close to Sturgis. And, they weren't as bad, but that was at 7:30 at night. We were rolling back. So it was a little later in the evening, and we were coming into Sturgis, not coming out of Sturgis late at night or anything. And it just, I didn't feel like it was any worse there. Now, I ran to Black Hills Harley-Davidson 3 or 4 times at least during the week. One time last time we had to go pick up parts on Friday for a buddy who had some stuff break on his bike. I went there on Monday because Firecracker was interviewed. So we had to run her bike over to do a video shoot with Advan Black. And hopefully everybody gets to see that on their channel. So keep watching Advan's YouTube channel and see if you see an interview where Mrs. Firecracker gets to talk all about her purple bike.
I don't think they need to watch it.
Yeah. And then we went over there Sunday and Saturday. So at least 4 times I was over there for sure. I might have been. And then we rode to the airport in Rapid City on Tuesday and Wednesday to pick people up. So I rode that stretch of highway almost every single day except for Thursday. And let's see. No, Thursday's the day we ran and get the parts. So I rode that stretch of highway 5 days in a row, and they were thick as thieves on 90 between Sturgis and Rapid City, multiple times. And we made sure we stayed on the speed limit. We didn't have any problems, but, they were pretty thick.
Yeah.
Maybe it was maybe your experience was just that particular cop too. Because they all have their own way they do things.
Yeah.
And maybe he was looking for more than some of the others. But I felt like when we rode Van Knocker Canyon, we didn't see one. And usually we see a couple, especially when you're going around those curves going kind of down the hill. I didn't see any. Again,
we were coming in kind of late though, after 6 p.m. So the canyon wasn't near as busy as it is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Photographers already gone, that kind of stuff. Lady Wagonator said they saw more cars stopped than bikes. I think there was more state troopers than normal.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought because again, every year I go, you definitely see a large presence of law enforcement, and you know that going in. I don't maybe because I got pulled over, it's making me think that they were trying to target more. You know what I mean? Like I've always seen them there, but a lot of times they're just hanging out and trying to be cool,
Yeah.
and, on Main
Chase,
Street and stuff.
Chase got it right there. You look like trouble.
Well, obviously, I mean, he
Yeah.
looks right at me and goes, "Hey, you want to get my squad car?"
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, yeah,
I do. I think maybe Travis and Tracy were talking about out by Full Throttle and stuff because they went out there that there was, they felt like there was quite a bit, but I don't know. We didn't get out that far.
So Zan said, I saw it, like more cops, I think is what he's saying here. That's what he observed via videos and what people were saying. So has anybody seen anything on the numbers about the size of the rally? Do you think they were maybe more cops because they were anticipating a bigger crowd being the 85th over, another year anniversary, even though it's a 5-year increment? It's not like the 75th, but still it's a 5-year increment. Do you think they were maybe anticipating a bigger crowd and brought in more law enforcement?
I think that would make sense.
And if you bring in more law enforcement, you're going to want to see a more return on your investment, meaning more tickets wrote to pay for their salaries.
Yep, I'm sure they're being put up and given meals, and that costs money. The bottom line is though, for this thing to be fun and enjoyable, you've got to keep the numbers to a certain percent, right? I mean, if word gets out that you're going up to Sturgis and you got a pretty damn good chance of getting a DUI or a ticket, that's going to keep people from wanting to go. So and I'm sure there's someone out there looking at the numbers, trying to.
Well, I can tell you my point of view that I was disappointed. A lot of people probably don't care, but I was disappointed. The Harley dealership's clearance was not anywhere like the last time we went. I mean, I felt like they had really good prices on clearance. And this year, like you were lucky to find something under $25. And I feel like in the past you were able to, and I felt like a lot of the places, I know one place we went to eat, you could tell they had made a special, redid their menu with different prices for the rally. Yeah. Because you could tell, I feel like they all raised their prices on food, and unless we got to those out of town bars like that we stopped at on that one ride with you, other than that everywhere was so expensive. Yeah. Our friend bought one of those hot dogs on the stick downtown. She orders it and the lady hands it to her and says that'll be $20. Yeah. And it was just like a corn dog.
Yep.
So we got a question back up here, and I don't want to ignore it, but we may wait a minute to get to it. He wanted to know if there was any chatter about the new CEO, and I didn't see really any chatter at Sturgis. I don't think anybody there was paying attention besides me, So, I mean, I had a conversation with a few people about it just to see if they were paying attention, and they didn't know. They hadn't heard, and they didn't seem to care. And I think, do you hear that noise?
A car just went by.
I heard like
that
a big,
loud?
like that. Okay, what is it? One of our neighbors? The shitty exhaust. Yeah, that's what comes through your mic. I was like, sound like a whale making noise in the background. Somebody beat your whale in the driveway. What's up? But
so
I think
final vehicle counts on the Sturgis.
Yeah, Patty sent me the thing just now.
Okay.
Total arrests for the 9-day period was 387. Last year was 634. So a lot less arrests, almost half. So either people were a lot better behaved or there were a lot less people there. Now, one thing that I think was different about this year than the years we've gone in the past is the weather. I mean, we had a couple of sprinkles on our way out of Missouri. And other than that, we didn't hit rain a single time. We had great riding weather all week long. And me and Bob from Bob and Tam's Adventures were talking. And I think there were a lot of people who were out riding more this year because the weather was good.
Yeah.
So they were out of town more.
Except at night. Our first 3 days.
Well, yeah, but during the day when people are riding. Arrests versus tickets, though. So everything was down. Arrest and tickets were down. That total of negative 277 is arrest and tickets.
Well, I was one of them, goddammit.
The number of people jailed was down from 172 to 142. But every category was down as a total for the week. So there's
it's showing
either.
I was looking at the vehicle total they counted.
Oh, I don't know that I saw that.
It's on South Dakota Department of Transportation. 2025 total to date was 537,459, up 11.3%.
So they said it was up 11%. I could believe that, but I think town was less busy. But I think that's because the weather was good and people went out riding and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Okay, so I've got something that I'd like to share. When I get home, I usually get home like Monday or Tuesday from the rally. I'll get on YouTube and I'll watch some of the live cameras on Main Street. Last year, when I was watching on Wednesday of the rally, so I'm already home, you could find a parking space on Main Street. Now, while I'm there, it's hard as hell to find a parking space. It's like, good luck. But by Wednesday, you could find a space. By Thursday, you could easily find a space. And Friday, pick wherever you wanted to sit, go wherever you want. This year was not that way. As I watched each day, expecting to see the same thing I saw the last year, Main Street stayed pretty damn full all the way even into Friday. So I'm thinking maybe the number, because while I was there, I didn't feel like I noticed a lot more people. It felt normal. But maybe and I thought to myself, if the numbers are greater than the last couple of years, it's going to be because maybe a second wave came in on Wednesday and stayed till Saturday.
Well, there was a lot of bikes coming in when we were leaving Saturday. There was bikes headed there.
There was some bikes there, but not anything like the second wave. I mean, in my opinion. So, and just answer Will's question real quick. The only hail I know of happened like on Sunday or whatever, the first weekend, and that happened up by Deadwood in the hills. I don't know of any. And Patty and Jerry got to see that good stuff, but we didn't see any of it. We weren't up there that day. Yeah. Thank you from Chris and Brian that said happy birthday. Do I feel like it was a record year? I don't feel like it was a record year, but I felt like it was different this year. Now, and Steve, this is what I was going to say about like a second wave coming in. We went downtown Friday morning, and our buddy didn't have a problem finding a parking spot on Main. And we walked over there, and there were spots here and there, but it was pretty full, but there were still spots. You could find a spot. I don't normally go downtown as much as we did this year, so I'm not as good a judge as you are on it as compared to what's been in the past. But driving through Sturgis, I felt was easier every time I drove through Sturgis than it was in the past. Like there was less traffic in Sturgis. And that's why I think people were out riding more. I think when it's rainy, people go down and go shop because they can go through the booths and stay inside for the most part. Right. You know, I think if the weather is super hot, even some people, like if it's 90s, people who are not used to that kind of heat will go find some place to sit in air conditioning, have a drink, get a meal, go shop, whatever, go in and out of places in the shade rather than being out riding in the furnace. riding in the 90s is normal for us, but there's a lot of people who are not up north that are not used to that. They get caught out riding in the 90s and they're dying.
Yeah. Now the Iron Horse also has a live cam, so it shows you Lozelle. Now Wednesday on Lozelle, it reminded me of years past. It wasn't very busy. The thing that you saw probably more than almost as many motorcycles was the trailers leaving town. But Lozelle was not near as busy as it was while we were there. That first weekend of the rally, it was noticeably less.
So Brian asked about the road construction from Deadwood to Hill City, and we only rode a part of that. We didn't ride the whole stretch from Deadwood because we cut across and took Van Ocker Canyon back. So I can't say that I know. I mean, there was some north of Hill City there that we did ride through where they were working on the sides and they had, heavy equipment out there. They'd been working on cutting a bluff out and things like that. And it was okay. I mean, we didn't have any real problems or anything. But we rode Van Ocker Canyon on Thursday, Wednesday night, kind of coming back in from Custer State Park pretty late. But our campground on Friday morning, you could tell, I'd say over half of them had left by Friday night. A lot of them pulled out Friday morning. By Friday, at the end of the day on Friday, over half the campground, I'd say had left.
I feel like a lot of them left on Wednesday and Thursday.
And I wonder if that's a trend where they're doing what you're doing, Bagger, where they're coming earlier and leaving earlier.
I've heard a lot of people that do that. They break it up in segments. You either go in the first part because you want all the action and all the energy, and then some people prefer to go to the second part of the rally because it's kind of slowing down a little bit. The party, everybody's a little bit partied out.
Yep. Thank you, Jerry, for the happy birthday wish. And Brian, yes, she did 1,004 miles in 16 hours and 15 minutes of clock time. That's not that's not how many hours the bike took. That's our total trip time from start to finish was 16 hours and 15 minutes for 1,004 miles. And she did it. And we'll have a video out on it.
Cool.
And Brian said, awesome. I don't know how good the video will be. I recorded clips. I'm going to go back. I mean, I only recorded like talking head stuff at the gas stations because I don't moto vlog. But I may go back and do some voiceover and just talk about things as some of the B-rolls rolling and try and help people understand why we did it and how she did it. And also talk about like this exact question. How did she feel afterwards? The only thing, her butt hurt her off and on a little bit going through it. And we're looking at a better seat. But her shoulder and her wrist, I asked her what hurt the most, and it was her wrist. And she had a motorcycle accident where she had a wrist injury a few years ago, and that's what probably you said bothered you the most, hon?
Yeah.
And then your shoulders you felt kind of pinched up in, you said?
It's not my shoulder. It's like I got a pinched nerve on my throttle side. But I get it all the time when I'm riding. So it's when I'm riding long rides,
Tell them about your experience testing seats out at JP Cycles. And a huge shout out to all the vendors who show up at Sturgis and let people do exactly what she got to do. Test out something on her bike to see how she liked it, how it looked, how it felt.
So everybody was bragging to us about the LaPera seats. I mean, all kinds of people are saying. So they were right next to, had us tits up there. So the guy had us pull my bike around and put the different seats on my bike. And there was the last one, which was the Maverick. I instantly sat on it and was like, oh, it's totally different from what I've got. It's a little more cushiony and it's not as pretty as my seat now, but I can get the purple stitching. But it was nice to be able to go and sit on different ones. It'd be even nicer if you were able to take them and ride on them for, a little while. But
and some of those you can do with dealerships, but I don't know of a demo set up with LaPera. But so Brian has another question for you. Do you have a backrest or a pack to make a backrest?
No. Now my big bag that I normally travel with, it's a square one. I didn't take it this time because it pushes me forward on my bike because it sits where my butt usually. So I didn't take it because I wanted to be more comfortable. But Mike gave me a round one. But once I put my jacket, when I took my hoodie off and stuffed it in the whatever you call that bungee cord in it, I had a little bit, but I don't have a backrest that I use or anything.
Zan wants to know if you have a crap buster on your throttle. And I'm assuming what he's talking about is like the little place you rest your wrist on. Yeah. And she does it because she has cruise control.
Yeah, and I have started using my cruise control quite a bit, but on our the last part of our ride, we were not on like highway where I could really use it in areas with traffic and stuff. So that's when it really started getting to me.
Cramp buster. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's something we could look into, but no, she doesn't have anything, but she does have cruise.
And I usually don't have that, but doing the 1,000 miles towards the end is when it really started. But that's when we were doing stopping in, having to get on different highways and then getting into Jeff City. And then we're, but.
When you guys do your video, you guys will have to come up with one or two things each that you felt was either really important that you did or you wished you would have done. I would think that would be informative.
Like what you should have done different?
Yeah, maybe some insight on, hey, here, looking back, I wish I'd have done this or.
Well, I'll tell you what, when I got cranky at the one point, I'll tell you what was making me cranky. Because I see my husband up there with his cup holder and he's just pulling his bottle constantly and drinking. And I have no option to take drinks while I'm riding to keep my energy and my. So that is something I would do different.
So, and
we did have a cup holder on it before and I never used it because we did it for Sturgis the last time and we took it off because I was like, I'm not going to use it for, but when I'm going on a long ride like that, it would be nice to have it so I could. And at that time, I didn't feel as comfortable taking my hands off the bars that much. I've gotten way, like I will set my cruise and ride, and then I'll go back and switch hand, So I've gotten way more comfortable with doing that.
So JL Doc said he's asked if I heard anything, and he's hearing Road King changes. And I will be doing a video about this soon. I think we're going to see changes for the Trike and the Road King because they are the only ones left on essentially the old engine platform. They've got, there's no reason to not upgrade the Trikes at this point. And after essentially we're going to be 3 years, if they don't, people are going to probably hold on a Trike. We're at the point that the Trike buyers are holding on Trikes, waiting for the changes. If you don't want the changes, buy one now or buy one a couple years old with low miles and be happy with that. So, I think you're going to see upgrades to the Road King and to the Trikes. I think the Trikes will get the new fairings and the new instrumentation. The Road King, I think, will get a new motor, and I think it should get the 117 center cooled. Sturgis is a prime example, though. I rode that bike for 1,000 miles and the temperature never got over 220 degrees. And no, we're not in stop and go traffic, but even in Sturgis, like stop and go traffic, it didn't get too hot. It's definitely noticeable over my twin cam. So
that's cool.
It runs cooler. It definitely does. Jeff said, happy birthday. Thank you very much. They'll be in Mountain View this weekend. Me and the guys, the Perry Mason Project. We'll be playing the square from 6:30 to 8 at the rally. Love listening, guys. Well, thank you, and I hope you guys have a good turnout. We have an anniversary party this weekend and stuff, so we'll be, and after being gone, we're going to be staying home and getting some stuff done. Brian said, get a big ass cup holder. And maybe what we need to do is get you a cup holder and you test, like just going out on the interstate for 20 miles and you test taking a drink out of it, without a lot of traffic around, just me and you, and see if you get a little more comfortable. Like I had a specific water bottle with the top that does not the flip. She likes to flip, but I like the one that pulls up. So I can pull it up and I can shut it with one hand. So I can reach up there and use my thumb and, do that and open it, take a drink, put it back in there and press down on it once it's in the cup holder and close it. And I don't have overspray or anything else. My cup got thrown away. So on the way home, I had to make do with the regular bottle. So then I'm twisting the top off with one hand, taking a drink, putting it back in and sloshing around and blowing on me and all that. So I think part of it's maybe having the right kind of bottle that you're, what I would do is pour whatever I was drinking into that empty bottle. And I use that same style water bottle the whole time. But
well, Xan says coffee, but that's a no-no for coffee. April because I will be peeing every 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's a no-no.
The mornings that we are going on rides, I'm not allowed to have. Well, I can, but I can only have a couple sips because otherwise we'll be stopping in 30 minutes down the road, and he gets aggravated at me.
Now, was it just the two of you that did the iron butt? Because you were in a big group.
No, Steve did it with us.
Steve did it too.
And Travis left with us, but he ended up moving on ahead, and he's. He lives further than us, so he's within 20 miles of doing an iron butt. I don't know his exact mileage, but he got home an hour ahead of us, but he lives 20 miles further out. So he's close to an iron butt. Same with Nick. Nick left the day before, and he did it straight through. So basically, 5 of us did within 20 miles of an iron butt. 3 of us absolutely did it. The other 2 were, I know, within 20 miles of an iron butt.
All right, let me ask you this. For future reference, do you see yourselves, now that you've ridden all the way from Sturgis home, would you be willing to do it again? Is that an option?
Well, I'd say I'm probably better prepared to know kind of what to expect, but you also gotta, I think, I also want to have the option if I just don't feel like it, then I can get a motel room because I really was starting to feel sick. Saturday, I kept feeling like I was starting to run a fever. I had a cough. I kept coughing in like where my eyes were watering because I get a coughing spell and stuff. And really, I probably could have just pulled over, but if I would have been feeling worse the next day, so it's probably a good thing we didn't because I just kind of went downhill. I ended up leaving work early today because we were slow anyways, but I just felt like crap. I've been taking Dayquil, NyQuil, and Mike says I've been sawing logs like crazy at night because I've just not felt good. So
Brian said something about long straws take sips with full face helmet. We didn't have to worry about that. We both wore open face 3/4, which also means we got wind burn and sunburn. So I have raccoon eyes, but that's okay. The Road King did drop $2,000. That was before Sturgis. I think that helped differentiate the price from the Street Glide. So that's a good move. Chase likes to take sketchy one-handed drinks while in traffic a lot. Good job. Good job, Chase. He's the king of a long distance rides. You want tips for long distance ride? Go watch his videos. So April did take some Tylenol or ibuprofen part of the way through. I did not, just because I wanted to. This is my first iron butt. I mean, I've never really worried about doing one because I knew I could. Didn't feel like I had something to prove. But so this is actually my first official 1K in a day iron butt kind of thing. So I could say if I was doing it again, I would probably take maybe a Tylenol or an aspirin. But I did it on what's considered a non-touring seat, like a day cruiser seat that I just got from Mustang. And we took my Sundowner with us because I had to ride a passenger part of the week for the wedding party. And I like the Mustang Day Cruiser seat more than I did the Sundowner. So even though I had the option of running a Sundowner touring seat home, I chose the Mustang Day Cruiser kind of style seat, with like the square back, kind of like a step up. And it is really good. I mean, of course, I get a little squirmy at 900 miles and, this and that. But if I took some Tylenol or something else, maybe I would have been even more comfortable.
Right.
But it was really good. And I've got to do a big deal on that. So Brian says I only drink water. I drink water, or like I drink Prime, which is like a hydration drink, low calorie, 25 calories. It's not pumping you up with a bunch of sugar, but keeps your electrolytes and that kind of stuff up. So I drank Prime and I drank water, and I didn't drink soda other than until late in the afternoon. And I think I probably needed the caffeine pick me up. I was wanting to feel like taking a nap. So when she got a Mountain Dew, I had a few drinks of it, and that was all I needed. But
And I usually don't drink Mountain Dew, but I needed some energy.
yeah. Coffee sounds terrible during an iron, but yeah, I don't drink coffee, so I don't have to worry about that. Keeps you awake at least. Mix it with Gatorade if you need electrolytes. That's quite a combination. Gatorade and coffee. Okay. Hey, Dave, thank you for the happy birthday, sir. Shake it up with some beer and some powdered baby formula in it. Total nutrition. Okay. That's a meal in the bottle. I think I'm going to do a different kind of meal, but okay. We did not do a log, and we did not fill out any paperwork. We didn't document anything. We're not trying to get any patches, and we're not paying $50 for a patch. We talked about this ahead of time, and she did not care about getting a patch or anything else. So we didn't do that because, to be honest, all that stuff slows you down, and it doesn't work very good with our workflow. So like when we pull into a gas station, we fill both bikes at the same pump, same credit card. We don't keep separate. We had to do separate receipts for each bike and turn the pump off, turn the pump back on. And when I'm filling the bikes up, she goes and has a smoke, gets a drink, walks, stretches, does those things while I fill the bikes. So it works better for us like that. And we were just able, like, when I'm done, okay, it's time to go. And she hops back on the bike and we're ready to go. The not to dog anybody doing it for a patch or anything else. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying we weren't interested in that. We didn't care about that. So we didn't have to slow down for that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I like the fact that, like, as far as I'm concerned, my documentation is going to be this video. I zeroed the trip the night before and showed you everybody the date. Then the next morning when we took off, I took a little shot of the time and the date on the bike and the exit sign as we were like 4 or 5 miles from Sturgis or whatever. So nobody can say that we didn't start at Sturgis that morning. And I mean, I'm taking a shot of my phone, which you can't really trick the time on. It auto updates the time zone on and all that stuff. You'd have to, I mean, sure, somebody could fake something if they really wanted to, but if anybody doesn't believe we did it, then that's just on them. I don't care. We didn't do it for them, but we did it for her because she wanted to prove to herself she could do it. That was all.
Yep. So, guys, what about Sturgis? Was there anything this year new, cool, something that kind of you thought that, hey, that was cool? Or
probably the biggest thing, I mean, the wedding, and I didn't do a video on it or anything else. We were in the wedding. It's their wedding, but there were some cool things about the wedding. It was on a 5,000 acre ranch just south of the Spearfish exit there, that big bottom. When you come off exit 17, that's like 2 or 3 miles long across there. That's where the wedding was at. They had buffalo. April fed the buffalo.
Go out and feed I didn't get to feed the buffalo. I was in the back seat. They were all hogging it. But they took us out and everybody else, and we got to, the girls fed the buffalo and stuff. It was cool. Hey, there was something I was read on there.
Hi, Mike.
My next goal for this year is to reach 10,000 miles for the year, and I'm over I think I'm over 7,600 for this year. So I got to reach the 10,000 miles for this year, which I'm sure I'm going to make it. But that's my other goal for this year.
If we have to go do an iron butt, she's going to make it. But if we have to do that, we're going to wait till it's a little cooler.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so the belly flop contest Michael's talking about here was over at Steel Pony. April didn't go to that, but I went over to Steel Pony for the Ricky Bongo belly flop contest pool party thing and hung out with Monkey and Desiree and Mrs. Monkey, and El Buffalo was there. And I met Michael and a couple of other people who watched the channel. Michael's, I believe, if I am correct, is from the Houston, Texas area. I'll make sure I'm hoping I'm getting that right. I talked to another guy that was from Texas, so I'm hoping I'm not getting who was from where confused. But I believe Michael, him and his wife are both retired, if I'm the right guy. And I enjoy cigars while I ride too. We all know stogies and coffee go together well. So, did you record with the HD app? I did not, because mine is supposed to, when it's plugged into the bike, it connects it to Bluetooth, so it automatically knows and starts recording. But it's not very good, because I've told this to someone at Harley that it misses things. It skips segments and stuff. And mine actually cut out 300 miles. I only recorded 700 of the 1,000 with it auto recording. So I should have started with the HD app. Firecracker did start it with the HD app, but the HD app had less miles than the odometer did. By just like 5.
No, 3 miles. I just looked up. It was 3 miles less, because I was like, I'm showing we need to. And he said, I cleared my app thing. And he said, my Harley app cut out things.
So how many miles do you have for the Let's Ride Challenge? I had 1,000 miles on the bike at the beginning of the year. So probably 1,500 when the Let's Ride Challenge started, maybe 2,000. I am over 10,000 now, but I haven't gone in and got it read. But I will be over 8,000 for the Let's Ride Challenge when I get it read next time.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm at for it, because it's been a while.
So, want to ride along to Milwaukee in September or go to Austin to King of the Baggers at Coda? I think what we have left planned, and we kind of put this out there, it's what we wanted to do. Of course, we'll do Bike Fest here in Missouri. That won't be a lot of miles. We're going to go to Eureka for the Dice Run Labor Day weekend. I don't know if you're coming, Steve, but we'll be down there for that. And then Bike Fest, then Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. And the weekend we do Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue, we're going to do and we have not got like anything out on social media about this. It'll start coming out after Sturgis got back, we were told. But she is going to be leading a ride out of Renegade on Saturday of Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue for breast cancer awareness. So that's what we'll be doing on Saturday. Then on Sunday, we're going to run our happy asses up to St. Louis for the Rat Run. So we'll put 500 miles on, or well over, for the BBB weekend. And then we're looking at doing Born Free Texas still.
That'd be a nice way to cap off the year.
Yep. GPS and wheel sensors are usually off a couple of percent. Yeah, my phone, I didn't track like with GPS and the phone, because the phone's supposed to auto record. So I ended up being, no good for me that way. I set my odometer. My odometer said 1,004. That's going to be close enough for me. I mean, if I'm off a couple of miles. It's not enough that we couldn't do it. It's just we didn't do it because we didn't think we had to. Tank asked if they're turned on. Great chat. Was there many trikes at Sturgis? I would say there was a few. We definitely saw a few there. And we've got a friend who just picked up a trike when he got home from Sturgis. He looked at one there, and a local dealer, a Renegade, was able to make him a better deal on one they already had with less miles, just like the one he was looking at. So he came home from Sturgis and went to Renegade and bought a trike.
Nice.
he's having some health issues and neuropathy, and they felt that was probably the best thing they could do to keep him moving on, in the wind for now.
Yep.
How do odometers compare? We did a 500 mile in 12 hours and having it range from 427 to 497 on 10 bikes. And I've heard that some of that depends on how fast you're going. Like the speedometer is more accurate at 60 or 70 mile an hour, and that they get less accurate at 100 mile an hour. And your odometer is going to be based off of your speedometer, I think. I think it's all going to calculate the same way. So if it starts getting off when you're running faster, then it's going to be off for your odometer as well. But we only averaged a speed of 73. We were rarely running over 80. So ours should have been pretty close. But, I don't know. She didn't set her trip on her bike before we left. She was using the app and I was using the odometer. And I thought I would have the app as a backup, but Harley-Davidson's app failed me.
Whoops.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael said I was right. His wife is retired, but he is still working. Okay. Yep. So maybe my bike reads 80 at 75 on the GPS. It adds up over a bunch of miles. Yeah, I mean, but I know from our house to Sturgis is like by the map, the way we go is 953 miles. So I know we're within a few miles, you know. And like I said, since we weren't doing it for anything other than ourselves, it didn't really matter. Whether she did 1,004 or she did 998, as far as I'm concerned, she did 1K in a day. If she'd have needed to go an extra 5 miles, she could have. It's not about did she, it's like, could she? And she proved to herself that she could.
Yeah, I still had energy to unload my bike, unlike I thought. Said I was going to come home, park my bike, and just come in and crash. But I actually unloaded it and took time to do that.
So, Steve, since a few people have asked about some of the Harley stuff, maybe we'll touch on that real quick. The new CEO, have you seen some of the Facebook posts about him and what Maverick Harley-Davidson in Texas has had to say about him?
I've read, I know that he was the CEO at Pizza Hut and Topgolf.
Yes. So people are expecting them to serve pizza and have bike simulators at the dealership any day now.
Yeah, I hate to he looks like a pussy. I want a Harley guy. I want a tough, You
want a Willie G. Now, here's a story for you, though. Harley-Davidson, Bill Davidson told us that they all wore suits at Harley-Davidson to work every day up until they started selling motor clothes. And then it became okay to wear the clothes that Harley-Davidson sells. So then they could wear T-shirts and stuff, but they had to wear Harley-Davidson motor clothes. They couldn't wear something else if they were not wearing like a suit and tie, formal dress kind of stuff. So, we have this perception of the Harley guys being, Willie G and what you've thought of for the last 40 years. But if you look at all the pictures of the old Harley assembly and the founders, they're all in full suits and all the pictures and everything else. So looks don't mean as much to me. I care about performance and what he can do. And I'll be honest, was a little skeptical when I first looked at Topgolf's performance for the last 5 years. Not the greatest when you look at stock, but maybe it wasn't the greatest because he made the right decision and not the decision that stockholders wanted. I mean, I think there are times that Harley-Davidson should not do stuff that they do that I think is maybe to appease stockholders when they shouldn't appease stockholders. And if the price of stock goes down, I don't care what's it do for the consumer. Stock prices don't always reflect good decisions for the consumer or for the company. They reflect how the analysts perceive the decision for the investors. Harley-Davidson, announces a new bike that's going to make a ton of money, stock goes up. Well, that's not great for the consumer because they announced that they're making a ton of money per model.
Yeah.
So I don't correlate stock entirely with making the right decisions. I'm going to give this guy a chance. What I thought was really funny and what I was kind of alluding to is, so an article came out on Facebook. I asked a dealer I know about this, and they sent me a link to it and said, have you seen this yet? And it just came out after he was announced as CEO. So back in May, before anybody knew he was in the running for CEO or anything else, I mean, he probably knew, but nobody else knew. He went to a local Harley-Davidson dealer in Texas, family owned, and kind of connected with someone there on the sales team or the fit team or whatever they call them. And he took the rider safety course. He did not have, I guess, experience riding motorcycles, but he took the Rider Academy course. And then during Sturgis, he bought a bike. Now, he was already announced as CEO. Somebody even asked me, so, well, why would he go buy a bike when he's going to get he can ride whatever Harley's got out of their fleet? Well, that's a good question. Why would he go buy a motorcycle from a dealership if he didn't have to?
Well, the obvious answer is he wanted to see how the experience was.
Right. So this guy, before he got the job, started taking an interest in the dealerships, started making a relationship with the dealership, started looking at the product, looking at the experience, and then went through the experience once he knew he got the job, just at his own expense, just to see what the consumer goes through. And so I think if nothing else, that shows a level of interest in trying to understand the business and the consumers and the dealers, and getting a perspective on something that he obviously probably doesn't have experience with. So he's trying to get it on his own. He's not paid by Harley Davidson yet. He's still working for Top Golf till October 1st, to help them with the transition. So, he chose to do this to prepare himself for the role he's going to take. And I think that says a lot. I think that's a good attribute. Shows some true caring about this. So he's spending his own money. He's not just putting it off 30 days or whatever, where it's, part of the bonus package,
Yeah. So here's my homework assignment for you. Since this is your world, Pizza Hut, Top Golf, both haven't done real well. So here they are. They're in, Harley Davidson's in a tough bind right now. So there's something that this guy, they think he's bringing. I want to know, I want to learn what is this thing that he has that they think will be able to help Harley Davidson pull out of their doldrums.
Well, and I think one of the things they commented on that really made difference to me is brands. They use the word brands, and what they're talking about is the lifestyle branding of Harley Davidson and knowing how to handle brands. Top Golf, and Callaway Golf, I'm sure, are very protective of their brand. They're well known. They're the top of their respective fields, even if they're not profitable. I mean, who do you know besides maybe Titleist and Ping that's got a bigger name in golf than Top Golf or Callaway?
Yeah.
So he has experience with a brand that has a valuable reputation, because not all brands have a valuable reputation.
True.
Or an iconic history, or past that they have to withhold, or that people are specifically loyal. You don't think golfers are loyal to a particular brand of golf ball? I mean, I don't drive nothing but this. That's that kind of stuff.
Absolutely
goes on. So I think he has some aspects maybe from that kind of thing about understanding brand management. So be interesting to see how that stuff plays out and how he can bring that in. I've heard, and I don't know, I've not corroborated this with anybody, but I've heard that he takes the job on October 1st. During the business calls, they said that the dealers would see the new Sprint in October. I've already heard that he's having dealers come in the first week of October, first week he's on the job, to meet with dealers and stuff. So I don't know if there was already a dealer meeting scheduled to see the Sprint, or how this was, or to meet the new CEO or what. But I think it'll be really interesting. We'll hear a lot more after that. I think we're going to see a lot of jokes about golf and pizza, and that's okay. You know, Michael asked, "What was your fuel mileage when running 75 to 80?" On my new bike, I am with a stage one. I average 44. I mean, there's days with at slower speeds I get up to 50, but I averaged 44 mile an hour on the trip, or 44 miles per gallon, I think, on the trip home. Firecracker averages better than me, but she has a smaller tank, but she actually gets more miles per gallon.
And she doesn't weigh as much.
Well, that's absolutely true. Yeah, stockholder price reflects shareholder confidence in the company. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean the company's doing the right thing or wrong thing or anything else. And stock prices after watching Harley for 5 years fluctuates based on what the freaking analyst perceives to be the response to whatever the business call is. Oh, this is good. This is bad. Oh, Harley-Davidson's selling off part of the financial arm. Is that good or bad? And how they write their article and their, recommendation, whether to buy or sell, dictates what happens to the stock, not the actual decision or the results of, but the perception of how it's going to do or perform.
No doubt.
Yeah. So Travis says he gets like 34 miles per gallon no matter what. If that is true, that is good that he wants to see what the customer experience is like. Yeah. And, again, CEO's job is to generate shareholder value in a public company. The CEO of Walmart doesn't use tampons, but he's in charge of selling them.
Yep. It's all about profit and loss.
I think I'm going to try and be open-minded. And I've worked with CEOs and CFOs. I've like reported to a CEO for 8 years. I was in a position where I pretty much reported to the CEO. So I've got some experience, and I had different CEOs I reported to over time. I mean, I was at one job where we went through 4 CEOs in 6 years. And so there's all kinds of different CEOs with different kinds of perspectives. And some are really good at listening to the people around them and then making the decisions based off the experts around them. Finance guy says we got this much capital. The IT guy says we need to spend this much money on infrastructure. The sales guy says I need to spend this much money on marketing, and then he has to decide how to balance the 3 demands,
Yeah.
And so a CEO's job isn't necessarily to sell motorcycles, but maybe it's to know which motorcycles to invest in R&D in, and to understand and listen to the people that are talking to him and make, decisions based off that are in the best interest. Maybe we don't have enough capital that we can do R&D and everything right now. So we're going to do R&D on this motorcycle concept for 2 years, 3 years to try and get something in place. And then we'll work on the other one, there's a lot of people who don't think Harley needs an entry-level bike. They think it makes no sense for Harley to try and compete with Honda in the 300, 400 cc. And then some people are saying they need something small for new riders to ride when they come out of the riding academy, or they're going to go buy a Honda and they're never coming back to Harley. So there's a lot of opinion on that, and I don't know if there's strong data that says anybody's right or wrong. Has Top Golf stock dropped over the last couple of years? Absolutely. Wasn't it crazy for a while, and now it's history, and people don't go to the range like Top Golf as much? Yeah, I don't know. I don't play golf, but it's definitely dropped in the last 4 years. But that doesn't mean it's his fault. That was my point. It's not a guarantee that that's his, a reflection on him. Motorcycle sales have been down. Is that because the CEO is unpopular with Harley-Davidson, or is it because the economy is bad and COVID drove the cost of supplies up and things like that? What other external factors really played into that besides the fact that he has not done a great job in the press?
A lot of variables.
You okay there, Firecracker?
Yep, I'm getting ready to get off of here.
So Road Reality is getting 44 miles per gallon. My 24 has only 2,400 miles on it, but I'm averaging like 37 miles per gallon. I averaged 40 probably at that point, but it got better the more it got broke in. When I hit 5,000 miles, I got, riding a back road to go see JS, I got 50 miles to the gallon. So I think some of it's how you ride, where you ride, once the motor's broke in more. But yeah, I mean, I think my mileage has improved after 5,000 miles significantly. So hopefully she'll get better as she gets older, or at least for a period of time. Stage 3, 122, averaging 38 since I had it installed this year with 10,000 miles. Yeah, I mean, and the more you hot rod one, usually the less mileage you get. My twin cam didn't get 40 miles to the gallon hardly ever, but I also couldn't keep my hand out of the throttle either. So some CEOs think they know it all, and then it all goes to hell. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it will depend on if he listens to the right people around him, and he can determine who the right people are.
Yep.
Yeah, fuel mileage, the terrain, how much hills you are. I get definitely, flatter ground like up there around South Dakota. I definitely get better mileage than when I get down into the Ozarks. I assume Top Golf could operate during COVID, which would pump up any recreational activity for a few years. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but maybe not. A lot of people, I don't know if they could operate or not. I can't say, there's not one around here, but I can't. A lot of people, when COVID happened, got into camping and four wheelers, and a lot of power sports stuff got sold. People were spending money on that, so maybe they got a new hobby, during that time frame that's taken away from golfing. Is golfing something you do with your buddies? And if you're not hanging out with your buddies, are you golfing? I don't know.
I've got a Top Golf about 4 or 5 miles from my house, and when it first opened, I went a fair amount. I used to play a lot of golf before I started getting really heavy into motorcycling again, but it's pricey on top of everything else. And the next thing you know, you're kind of like, wow, I'm spending a lot of money on this. So I haven't been to Top Golf in the last 2, 3, 4 years.
Economy. I mean, it's pricey. It's expensive.
It is.
If you were making more money, maybe it wouldn't feel as expensive.
Maybe so.
If all your other expenses weren't as high, maybe it wouldn't feel as expensive. It's hard to say. Less expensive bike, or push the certified pre-owned as an alternative and do the price you pay if you upgrade in a year, like they did with the old Sportster. I definitely think that had a point that really resonated with a lot of people. Buy a Sportster, trade in a year, get your money back. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they'll do that with the Sprint as a beginner bike to get people into the industry. Buy a Sprint, ride it for a year to learn to ride, and then trade it in and get your money back. I have stage 1 on my Softail, and for some reason my mileage kind of stinks. Maybe have somebody else look at the tune on it or something. Some guys tune them a little lighter at the interstate speeds, like from 65 to 85 in top gear, to get better fuel economy. Some guys don't tune it that way. They tune straight pure horsepower. So it could be something to do with your tune. Mine's an auto tune, so nobody else has a say in it besides Harley-Davidson, whatever they've pre-programmed in the auto tune to do. Yep, it was good to see you too, Ken. Firecracker didn't show up, so she didn't get to see you.
Hey, if I could, hey, Lone Cowboy, I watched your recent video. Looks like you had a little come to Jesus with yourself on your way home, and that was pretty a powerful video that you put out. And hope you're in a good spot. I'm sure you are. I'm sure that ride helped.
Travis is a 2011 with the 96 inch. So yeah, depending on what kind of tuner they used or what it has, I can't say, but you might have somebody look at the tune on it, and they might be able to get you a little better economy. Yeah, miles per gallon is condition dependent: hot, cold, speed, wind direction. If you're following a semi or fighting a semi, fighting the headwinds, we always get worse gas mileage going to Sturgis than coming home because you're riding 350 miles straight into the wind up that valley. I mean, you know, we camped in that valley this year, and that's something else. The wind comes off that thing and rolls down that interstate like you wouldn't believe at night.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I ripped the awning off the camper. Yeah, and we realized now why all the other campers didn't have their awnings out. Because it tears them up.
Like she had to have somebody come repair it while we were there.
Yeah. But after that, we got to look at it, and nobody puts an awning out on the campers at the campground. And then we figured out why, the hard way. Maybe they would be something they should tell people. It's like, hey, don't put your awning out, as a new person coming to a campground, some suggestions.
Yeah, that would have been nice, right?
Yeah.
Hey, what'd you get? We did, some people might know, we did a little pub crawl. What'd you guys think of that? And
it was a nice ride. Everybody, when we went back to our campground, was talking about how that was just a really nice ride, relaxing, fun, and they really enjoyed it. Wasn't like, you do the rides there, and you got to worry about other riders and stuff like that. But the ride we did, there was other riders, but it was just kind of a fun, relaxing where we all got to hang out. Everybody in our group really enjoyed it that went.
Did you watch my little video on it?
I did.
It's got 3,000 views. It's not one of my biggest, but definitely not doing bad. It's in my typical range. So gotten some few comments on it and stuff, but I think it's good. And I think I wanted to show people a different side of Sturgis outside of Sturgis. Yep. That's important. Not everything is, we're going to talk about what Will just brought up here in a second, but everything's not that. Like the Twins and the Hells Angels thing. Everything's not people getting arrested. Everything's not people getting their bikes towed. That's a very small percentage. We go back and look at these arrest things on the report that she sent me. We're talking less than 300 out of 600,000 people roughly there. So that's a very, very small percent.
Well, most of it's, one thing they showed, do not park your bike in the yellow painted areas. Well, that should be common sense for you. And this was out in the middle of a thing where it wasn't even barricaded off, and there was a bike getting towed because they parked where it's marked for you not to be parking,
So the pub crawl video was kind of also to show people that you don't have to go to Sturgis and spend $10 a drink and spend all day in a campground or a downtown bar that's not owned by locals. Only one bar in downtown Sturgis, I think, is owned by a local now. Everybody else is owned from somebody else. No, the Loud American, they said, was locally owned.
Oh, really?
Maybe there's another one, but like out of the big bars, somebody told me that the Loud American is locally owned.
Okay.
But we have Gas Monkey and Iron Horse and all these other places that are not locally owned.
One-Eyed Jacks.
Yeah. So that's fine, but I wanted to show people like. You can go there. When I go to see the vendors, I don't spend a bunch of money. Not that there's anything wrong with getting suspension put on your bike. We had a friend buy suspension while she was there, and they shipped her old shocks home to her. I've had friends get bars put on there. There's nothing wrong with that because it's a great opportunity to sit on something and try it out and see how it fits, just like with the seat thing. But the prices for the bars and stuff like that are usually discounted, or you get a free install. It's usually just as cheap or cheaper to get it done there as it is to get it done at home. The bike parts thing, I think can actually be a good deal for you. My problem is the $20 corn dog and the $14 for a slider, and the $10 and $12 drinks, and that stuff is like, I guess if you want to be downtown and experience downtown, then you pay that. And we did. We bought a drink at the Iron Horse. We bought something to eat while we were downtown. But it's not something I would do every day. And I wanted to show people that there's another side to it where you can
Yep.
go get $5 cheeseburgers. And, we ate in Rapid City and had a whole meal for $10, a half-pound hamburger, so you don't have to spend those kind of prices to go there and have a good time.
So
I
Bader,
gotta
Bader,
think-
have you ever been there like at the end of the rally, like Friday?
No, I always go a couple days before the rally starts, and then I usually end up leaving Monday or Tuesday of the rally.
Well, just like I mean, I feel like in the past, even all the t-shirt vendors downtown would lower their price from the 3 for $35 or the 3 for $40, and they'd lower it more. Friday when we went down there, they hadn't even lowered those. Like they were all the same price, and I always thought that they by Friday lowered them, and then Saturday they really lowered them. But maybe I'm wrong on that.
So we'll get into this Twins thing. Do you guys all know what the Twins video is?
Yeah.
Steve, have you seen it, the Outlaw Twins?
No, if I have, it's not clicking.
It's two jackasses dressed up as bikers, and they are wearing like white and black flannel shirts all the time with the vest and a headband, and they call themselves the Outlaw Twins. Okay. Well, they're always bad-mouthing 1% clubs, particularly HA, and they've made jokes about the Mongols and other clubs. I mean, straight out like FU in them on video. Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah,
So,
it's all over Facebook Reels
yeah.
and
So
TikTok.
if you just go search Outlaw Twins on Facebook, you're going to see all this stuff. So these guys have been doing this for a while, I guess. I didn't pay any attention to them. And to be honest, I watched a couple of the videos, but my suggestion is if you get that video, don't watch it. Because all you're giving these guys is the publicity they want. They're doing this for clicks. Or some people think they're feds. I don't think they're feds, but if they are, they're dumb because even if they're a fed, they can still disappear.
When they first were doing it, they weren't like, they were saying stuff about 1% clubs and stuff like that. But then I don't feel that they called them out. And now all of a sudden they are just calling out all these clubs. And I mean, it's been one after another. And
they were recorded in Sturgis. I think it was in Sturgis. It was in Sturgis or Deadwood or somewhere in town. But I think it was in Sturgis because it looked like there was the HA support shop in the background. But it was somewhere during the Sturgis rally in Sturgis or one of those little towns. But they are flipping off the Hells Angels and yelling at them from down the street. And the Hells Angels start coming toward them, and they go into a shop. And the videos all report that they went in the shop and they called the police. And then like 8 cops come over and escorted them to safety. And that was the last anybody saw of them at the rally. And they've even put this own video on their page that somebody else created of them. So don't tell me that they're not all about the clicks and all about the money. And the more we watch them and the more we click on them, the more we're giving them fuel to do exactly what they're doing.
but they're going to be lucky if they don't.
Somebody's going to find them, and it's not going to be lucky then.
No, that's like walking into a den of lions with meat hanging off your shoulders. I mean, that's just stupid.
Well, my thing is, I don't care if it's HA or anybody else. If you're getting on YouTube and saying "F you," you're no good, you're a bunch of bums, or you're this or that, somebody's going to smack you in your mouth, and you're going to deserve it.
Do more than that, probably, if the right guys get involved.
Well, yeah, but I mean, no matter who it was, if you want to get online and you want to talk shit, you better be ready to back it up, and you should. Otherwise, you should shut your mouth. These guys are doing it for clicks, and somebody's going to get them.
I think they need to be educated a little bit on the bear that they're poking, because it doesn't sound like they understand.
Oh, I'm sure. I think they understand very well, but I think they're seeing dollar signs.
Ain't gonna help you when you're 6 feet under.
Yeah. So Chase said he'd rather eat a can of Spam and baked beans than pay $18 for a burger. That's the way I read that. Will asked, why do you go those days? I think he's talking to you, Steve. Why do you go early and leave early?
So even though I don't party like I used to, I still love the energy of the first weekend. I've watched a ton of stuff on the second half of the rally, and it's very clear to me that the real energy and excitement of the rally is those first 3-4 days, while everybody still has a little piss and vinegar in them. And so being a social type person, that's what I kind of gravitate to.
Shut that damn car again.
Yep.
I'm going to find that fucker and we're going to have a little chat. If his exhaust is loud enough to come through the mic inside the house, you know, they drive a little car that is, I'm sure, not legal, like no exhaust kind of thing on it, up and down this road, because there's a Dollar General they can run to without having to go through town and get arrested. So we're going to have some chat.
So Mike, you should tell him your story about Ralph.
So I should tell him about meeting Ralph?
Ralph!
So we picked up a lady at the airport that was in the wedding party. I've met her once before. Steve, you've met her. She was at Cycle Showcase, one of the bride's friends. She flew in for the wedding. So they'd asked already, and we'd already agreed that she could ride on the back of my bike because April rides her own, and we know her, and everybody was good with that. And we pick her up, and we went from Rapid City Airport out through Custer State Park and did the wildlife loop, and come back up to Hill City and had lunch. And she had a couple drinks there, and I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not.
Wasn't this the day that Bonnie was with us too?
Right, which is the day we did the wildlife.
We picked Linda up on Tuesday, so we picked.
Right. Well, we picked up Bonnie. We picked up Bonnie on Wednesday at the airport, but that's the day we did. Ralph.
Yeah.
Was there.
Okay.
Ralph flew in on Tuesday, and we did. But this is our second day on the bike. We go to the airport to pick somebody else up, do the wildlife loop, and we go back up through Hill City, stopped and had lunch, ate there, had a few drinks or whatever. She's riding on the back. I guess she had a few drinks. I wasn't keeping track. They were doing their thing and I was doing mine. But we left Hill City and we went up the road and turned right and cut over to south of Nemo and came up Van Auker Canyon. Okay. We got through Nemo okay, but we got to the stretch between Nemo and Sturgis, and you're switchbacks. She says, I'm not feeling good.
That's my favorite road, so that's why we had to ride it.
Yeah. She said, I'm not feeling good. I think I'm going to get sick. I don't think my stomach can take it. I said, okay, well, there's no shoulder to really park on without being risky. I mean, there's a foot of pavement, and then you're in the dirt on the side of a mountain. And so I'm like, well, I'll look for a place to pull over, but there's no place I can safely pull over right here. Just try and hold on. And because there's usually every few miles a little pull off or something.
Right.
We get a mile down the road. She's like, I really don't think I can wait. I'm like, okay. I start slowing down, telling everybody to go around. And I was just going to pull off, but I wanted to get the group behind me safely around me. And as the last bike goes by, I see a T intersection sign. I'm like, hang on, I'm going to jump on the other side of the road here to this T intersection. And as I'm 20 feet from the T intersection, here comes Ralph, all down the side of my bike. All down by White Street Glide.
Of course, I just kept going. I was having fun. I waited at the gas station for him. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Did she puke on you?
Not on me. Maybe I might have got a little bit on my pant leg or something down there.
Yeah.
But I didn't get anything on my jacket or anything like that. She turned her head, but all down the saddlebag, all over the right saddlebag, real bad. Exhaust, crash bar.
Was she able to clean it for you?
I had a bottle of water in the saddlebag, so we rinsed it off real good. And then when we got to the gas station, she bought me another big bottle of water to rinse it some more. So we got it cleaned off before it got burned in. Did she pay to get the bike detailed after that? No, but she probably would have if I'd let her.
Yeah.
She offered to pay for gas and everything the whole time she rode. She was very nice about it, and she was very apologetic.
Yeah.
But I don't let too many other people clean my bike, so
Yeah. I mean, shit happens.
yeah. I don't know if it was drank too much and then
No, she
what.
doesn't. She hadn't drank, but maybe one drink. She gets car sick, and she's only been on a bike. It's been years, and I don't think she had been on one very much. But I think it was just
probably never on a road like Van Ocker Canyon either.
Right. Hey, good thing you didn't have her on, Needles or Iron Mountain.
Well, you'd go a lot slower. We didn't have no traffic on Van Ocker, so we were rolling 45 to 60 through there. True. Maybe 65 even, since we didn't have any cops anywhere. But we were rolling pretty. I'm not probably the slowest guy to ride with, So from now on, when somebody asks if somebody can ride on the back of my bike, we're gonna have questions. Do you get car sick? Do you know how to, swallow your tongue and hold it if you have to, whatever. But yeah, it was.
That's too bad.
First time I've had someone puke because of my motorcycle riding.
Well, and I didn't know what he was doing. He waved. I was right behind him. He's telling me to go. So I thought he was just trying to slow down so he could get behind all of us and maybe do some filming and then come up beside us. So I just kept going through. I was just going through those curves because I just love that road. And Travis is right behind me, him and Tracy. And I didn't see the rest of them coming, but I just kept going because there's no really where. And I'm sorry, I'm having too much fun. So we got to the gas station. We're sitting there. I pull up thinking he'll be right behind me, So I pull up to the gas pump and I'm waiting. And then some club group of guys pulled in. So I thought, well, I'll just move until he gets here. And Travis and them were sitting there. And so we sat there for a little bit. And I kept thinking, maybe we should have stopped. I don't, he was waving to go on. So, but then finally they showed up and I heard the story. So I thought it was kind of funny.
So Tuesday, when I was headed out of town, I ran through Rapid City probably just after 12, and I pulled over to get some gas just past the city. And the reason I'm bringing this up, you probably won't have an answer for me, but I thought it was interesting. I noticed that there was cops, like 3 or 4 cops, all at different corners of that off ramp and over by the gas station. And I thought, man, that's kind of weird. What are all these cops doing? So as I'm filling up, all of a sudden, I see the sirens or the cherries going, and they barricaded off the road, the exit ramp, so that you could only turn right to head toward Rapid City. Everything else was shut off. You couldn't go any other directions. Cops were in front of the road there. And then here came a ton of bikes, led by police, motorcycles, and I thought, well, maybe that's Nome, because I think Christy Nome. I know Christy's been there last couple of years, and I wonder if maybe this was her coming in. I don't know. Did you guys hear of anything on Tuesday? Any big group runs or anything? Did you hear?
Well, there's a couple like charity runs and things like Woody does like a Legends ride or something,
right?
The Buffalo Chips. So I don't know which one it was or what it was, but there's a couple of rides.
So what made me think this is odd is just the fact that I was already kind of out of town. I was probably 5 miles east of Rapid City, and I'm thinking, who would start a route, a ride out here, out in the middle of nowhere? Now there's the base, right? There's a military base kind of over that way.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it was. Yeah. Just curious.
Yeah, Thrashing did one from Sturgis to Deadwood, but I wouldn't think they would be over by Rapid City. You did that one, didn't you?
Yeah, Tuesday. I stuck around Tuesday my hotel's right across the street from where Thrashing was going to have their event there in Deadwood. So I stuck around for it. Met some influencers over there. That was kind of cool. And then, so about 11:30, I took off. But yeah, that was just from Sturgis back up to Deadwood.
We prefer content creators, Steve.
Excuse me. There were some content creators there. Okay, I've got something that's kind of running through my head. Let me run it. I'll tell you. So Saturday night, I see riding in the, or excuse me, I see, the Lance Senior and
Two-Lane Life.
I see Two-Lane Life at my hotel. I've been visiting with Lance's wife, Laura, on the phone because she works customer service at Thrashing because I've had some issues. And I mentioned to her, I said, hey, I'll be at the Franklin. I know you guys stay in Deadwood. Maybe I'll run into you guys. If I do, I'll say hi. So lo and behold, they're sitting in the lobby of my hotel when I come in. So I went over and introduced myself, and I'm chit-chatting, and I go over to Galen, and I say, hey, Galen, me and Mike from riding in the Ozarks. And he's like, oh, hey, he goes, I met him in Wisconsin, Milwaukee. And I go, yeah. I said, we might be heading out to California next year and do a run. I'd like to kind of pick your brain about a route and stuff. And he was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. So I said, yeah, my YouTube channel is Bagger Bader. Well, he just gets a kick out of it, right? And I start to explain. He goes, I get it. So Tuesday, when I'm meeting all these influencers, I see Luke Leatherman from Fueling, the company Fueling. And I say, hey, Luke, I like you when I see you on the channel, I like your persona and everything. And he goes, oh, thanks, man. And I said, yeah, I've got a small channel. It's called Bagger Bader. And he goes, oh, we were talking about you all through dinner last night. And I'm thinking to myself, what? So then I'm like, you did? And he's just kind of looking at me, and I go, well, I hope it was good. And he just never gave me any face, didn't say. And I'm thinking, what the hell are these guys talking about? So I probably look like a jackass. I don't know, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I thought it was funny though. Boy, oh my God, I'm the center of your dinner conversation. Wow.
Well, at least they know your name now.
I got 188 subscribers. I mean, I've got a powerhouse of a channel.
You know who's getting close to 1,000?
Firecracker?
JS.
Hey, JS has been putting out some good content.
He just had the famous Wagonators on his show this last week.
Yes, he did. In fact, I messaged JS a day or two ago on his last video. At the very end, he has a very funny comment, and I got to admit, I laughed my ass off.
Jay's got a great sense of humor. I think
he does. He does.
I think he just needs more exposure.
He does. He's got some unique, quirky humor. Yeah.
Anybody that doesn't know Jay's channel, I just threw a link out there.
Yeah.
So, anything anybody else wants to talk about? The questions have kind of died down in the comments. We've talked Sturgis. I guess we could talk about what's next real quick. For me, it's going to be the dice run. Steve, are you coming to the dice run?
I don't have plans of doing that, but you know how that usually turns out. Like when you said, Steve, are you going to the spring rally at Lake of the Ozarks? And I'm like, I guess I am now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you decide you're going, let us know. It's Labor Day weekend, Brian, at Eureka Springs. The Switchback Bar does a dice run on Sunday, and so one reason we like it is we can take Saturday to ride down there and ride and do things.
Oh, I thought we were going down Friday after work.
Well, if you want to go down Friday after work, we can.
Just joking. I'm just joking.
Just another motel room you have to pay for.
No, you're paying for them, not me. 4.
Well, then we're going down Saturday morning.
I figured I already remember was looking at Saturday morning.
So, but
I'd rather ride when it's cool.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to meet up, maybe we meet at like Renegade and then ride down from there together or something. So
Okay.
if you are coming or anybody else in the area is thinking about going, reach out to us. Maybe we meet up at Renegade at a certain time and pull out of there and ride down, spend the afternoon riding and just doing stuff around Eureka Springs. And
Okay.
We
then
haven't
Sunday
booked our motels yet.
and then Sunday do the dice run and head back. But we could take a fun ride into Eureka Springs.
We're coming back Monday, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll come back Monday.
Okay.
Sunday we'll do the dice run and hang out in Eureka Springs again that night.
Okay.
And it's nice because it's not a huge crowd. There'll be 50 or 100 people on the dice run, but it's not like a rally crowd. So, Jeff won't be so busy at the cat house that he can't visit and say hi, and sit down and have a conversation, that kind of stuff. So, yeah. It won't be so busy you can't get a place to park.
Right.
Bozeman said something about riding with us that weekend, hon. So I asked him if he had to work or what. So we'll have to get a hold of him and find out.
And then we have Bike Fest.
Bike Fest. Will said we need to come hang out on a Friday some night. Yeah, we do. But we've just not been home a lot of Fridays. Or we have stuff going on like this weekend. We have an anniversary party on Saturday, so Friday night we're helping get ready for that. But we have Bike Fest, and then we have we're going to try and put a local ride together for a friend that is having some health issues and try and help raise a little money for them. And then the weekend after that is something else. Oh, Shovel Fest. Then the weekend after that is Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. And then 2 weeks after that is Born Free, Texas.
Bike Fest.
Now
Shovel Fest?
Shovel Fest is 2 weeks after Bike Fest. That's why we were going to do the benefit run the week in between.
The 27th?
Yes.
I know that in Kansas City, we got a big, I think it's going to be a big event. The weekend before Bike Fest is going to be Chopper Fest here in Kansas City. And I think it's going to be a big turnout.
Yeah, is it the weekend before? Because I have it as the weekend after.
It's the weekend before Lake of the Ozarks Bike Fest. I'm pulling it up now. Yeah, it's the
6th.
Well, that's wrong. I think this is wrong.
I had it as originally the weekend of Bike Fest, and then I heard it moved to the weekend after.
Well, okay, so maybe I'm wrong. The September 20th.
Yeah, that's what I have down too.
So weekend after.
Yep.
My bad.
What is the weekend after?
It's David Mann's Chopper Fest. I've been lucky to meet Jackie, his widow, David Mann's widow, several times. In fact, she's been to my home a couple of times, and I've bought some stuff from her. She's a super nice lady, but doesn't have a lot of capital to do a lot. And so the guy that bought that magazine has reached out to her, and she's like, I can't get out to California for the event in Ventura. So he said, like, I'll bring it to you guys. So I think this is going to be a big event every year.
So, Brian, we get a few chips given to us. April got a few brought back from like Alaska that we didn't ride to. Her parents went and brought them back to us. But Jonesy, I am sorry we didn't catch up in South Dakota, but I'm sure you're going to be coming through the Ozarks and we can have lunch. Probably have more fun, doing that anyway. But
maybe try to do it a day that April can go have lunch too. Yeah,
April wants to come have lunch with us, Jonesy. So we'll have to figure that out and give her a little more notice. Will said we need to come up to shop and hang out on a Friday. Jonathan said, happy birthday. Thank you, sir. Brian's leaving out Wednesday after Labor Day and coming back Tuesday the following week, and then he's headed to Austin on the 12th of September. One a Dubai or a Singapore? I'm not as much into collecting them as Firecracker is, so I'll let her answer that. I mean,
I'll take any coins or poker chips I get because I'm going to have a table made out of them.
She wants to have them put
like
table
coffee
made.
tables.
And
so I'll have a big
epox
one,
over.
coffee table, and then some smaller ones. My friend said he could do it for me.
Put epoxy over them so you can see the coins through that.
Yeah.
That'd be the tabletop. All right. Well, I think we've killed an hour and 40 minutes shooting the shit, celebrating my birthday. Thank you, everybody. Cheers. I am empty.
Hey, Jonesy said he's coming through on the 25th
of August.
That's a Monday.
Okay. So you're going to have to take a long lunch.
Yep.
I'll make sure I am not out of town, that I stay in town the 25th.
I don't know if that came out, but that's Birthday Party by the Beatles.
Oh. All right, I'm getting off here because
I'm going to put Jonesy meat for lunch on the 25th.
You're going to meet Rala so I can...
We'll have to talk. Jonesy text me later. We'll see where we can meet at. Rala might be a little far out of his way, but we might have to compromise, and you might have to come to St. James and him come to
Well,
St.
that's fine.
James.
If I know ahead of time, I can just tell him I got a doctor's appointment or I need to take a long lunch.
Yeah, tell him you got a doctor's appointment on YouTube. Everybody hears otherwise.
All I got to do is tell him I'm taking a longer lunch.
Tell him you got an errand to run. You have to go see
You
have to go see a long lost Uncle Jonesy.
The students start coming back.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you for the birthday wishes, Jeff, Michael, everybody that came in. Brian said he could always leave them at Renegade for us to pick up. So yeah, if you want to leave something at Renegade for us, most of the salespeople there know us. I mean, Addie or Dominic or Red in the parts department knows me real well. Of course, several of the sales guys know us. Brandon Flack is working there as a sales guy now. He also has some people follow him on Facebook and social media. So yeah, you could leave something for us there if you just said, "Hey, put in the bag." Say this is for riding Ozarks. I'm sure someone will put it up for us. All right. Well, good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate your time and celebrating my birthday with me. Until we do it again in a couple weeks.
Peace.